Thatcher. I'm a writer-director. I used to be a designer and creature builder back in the early days in the 80s when we made things by hand. Before digital, I started on Return of the Jedi, designing and building creatures. I worked on Gremlins, a little bit on E.T. and Star Trek 2 and 3, doing some of the creature stuff, and then designing creatures or more puppets for the Jim Henson Hour. And then Dinosaurs was probably the most well-known thing where I designed and kind of set the look for the show. And designed all those creatures and sort of supervised their building by the very talented people at Jim Henson's Creature Shop. And then moved more into writing and directing. So I've directed a lot of things for the Muppets. That tends to be most of my work, both with the Henson Company and then now with Disney that they own them. So yeah, I have just kind of lots of little milestones, but my most exciting project's the next one, because that's kind of always how it is, Don't rest on your laurels. Well, Spectrum to me is I used to get the Illustrators annuals, and then Spectrum started coming out, and I've just been getting, I think I have every hardcover issue that's ever been done from 1 through 22. It's great. I mean, it inspires me every year. It gives me ideas, shows me various styles that are coming up. You'll see a particular artist, and he's very popular, and suddenly there's 3 or 4 clones, and then they kind of grow into their own thing that's, you can take Frazetta or Bernie Wrightson or some of the guys who were the old school, I guess, or, Krinkle, or go back even further and see how they inspired, Al Williamson, Wally Wood. I can go on and on, but it's fun to see how, and also media changes, digital has become so prevalent. And you also learn that good art, it doesn't matter what the medium is, it's still good design, good color sense, no matter what the tools are. And I think that's when, especially when you look at 5,000 pieces, you realize, and it can be simple, a black and white illustration, all the way to a full color oil painting or 3-dimensional piece, but still the basic principles of good art and good design are still relevant. It's comforting, I guess, that everything you learn in art school is still valid. It's not like, it's all digital, I'll throw it all out. So I think that's been the most revelatory to me, is that it still comes down to color sense, design, communicating an idea. It's fun. It's a little overwhelming just looking at that much art, and that much good art. And you just notice patterns in sort of subject matter and stuff, and also a lot of dragons. It's inspiring. It makes me want to go home and draw and paint again. When I found out how many submissions there were, 5,000 submissions, I'm like, I sort of imagine kind of like what part of it is there'd be a bunch of tables or pinned to the wall. I'm like, geez, how are we going to do that? So the way you have it set up is great and very effective. So that was also a relief. We didn't have to be running a mile just to look at all this artwork. So your hand gets tired clicking. I think the categories are interesting too. In my field, it's always basically concept design, because I don't do a lot of finished work, and most they're so good now, the film illustrators or designers, but still it's to communicate an idea. So it's fun to see stuff that's just done for purely illustrative purposes to for a book cover or just a spot illustration for Time magazine. I think that's fun, and get back looking at that, because I haven't done that in a while. If I talk faster, I think people won't be understanding the thing I'm saying, because it's all the coffee I've been drinking.
And that was really great. Just can we do it again, because I forgot to hit the record button.
Sure, yeah. Let's start from the top. I use Clairol. Is that what you want to know? How do I make my hair look so pretty?
I want to know what kind of conditioner.
What conditioner?
You use.
The tears of my enemies.
Yes.
Conan recommended it. He's got that thick black hair.